Batman 89 Echoes has finally arrived, and today I'm diving into the Easter eggs. As many have noticed, the official Echoes logo is similar to Catwoman's Hell Here sign in Batman Returns. In the opening, a group of criminals gun down a Batman copycat. The previous story, Shadows, had a gang of Batman copycats, though these seem to evoke more of the ones from The Dark Knight. One of the cops at the scene mentions the gang's T-Bird car and seems to bear resemblance to Ernie Hudson's character in The Crow, which also featured a villain named T-Bird. Harvey Bullock arrives as well and appears to walk with a cane after his gunshot injuries from Two-Face in the last storyline. When Barbara Gordon gets the call, her resemblance to Winona Ryder is even more striking, as pointed out by Twitter user David Contrarian, who used this comparison between her image and the poster for Girl Interrupted. Barbara's new look includes short hair and a black and yellow coat. Her short hair is very similar to the haircut in Harvey's dream in Batman 89 issue 3 from Shadows. It also evokes Yvonne Craig in the 1960s show. Her black and yellow coat is of course foreshadowing of her future as Batgirl, as revealed in the cover for the next issue. In the comic, it's mentioned that 4 men in batsuits have been killed. Funny enough, in Harvey's dream sequence in Batman 89 Shadows, he imagines that Batman is actually 4 separate men. The comic also establishes that Echoes takes place 2 years after Shadows, and that Batman hasn't been seen since. While listening into an interrogation, Bullock says that criminals are a cowardly, superstitious lot, quoting the original origin of Batman by Bill Finger. Barbara then calls on Alfred, who's now clean-shaven and sitting in a kitchen that resembles the one in the 89 film. Barbara is waiting outside the gates of Wayne Manor, which look faithful to how the gates look in both Batman 89 and in The Flash. Alfred brings Barbara into the study area, which is also modeled off of the living room in Batman Returns. During the flashback, Barbara cites an old article of Bruce being comforted by a young Jim Gordon. This was actually a still from the 89 film, and featured in the movie when Bruce looks at the old Gotham Globe newspaper. We get another return of the Action News Network from the 89 film, as well as Alicia Hunt, who wears her mask from the movie, and appears to be healed from her burns from the Joker. While Joker claimed that Alicia threw herself out the window, he was either lying or she survived. Funny enough, in Ham's original draft, Alicia was confirmed dead. One of the Action News crew members in this scene also looks a lot like Renee in the 89 film. And the producer seems to be modeled after actor Harvey Fierstein. We then get introduced to Dr. Harleen Quinzel, who previously cameoed in Shadows. Harleen here seems to be slightly modeled after Madonna's comic book role as Breathless in Dick Tracy. We also get footage of Joker in the background, with scenes from the 89 film, like when he announced that he was giving away money, and when he announces that he's poisoned cosmetics. Harleen's interview is then interrupted by a news broadcast about an alleged bomber who calls himself Firefly. Firefly was going to be the main villain in the cancelled Batgirl film, which featured Michael Keaton's Batman. The newscaster delivering the news also appears to be Peter from Action News, like in the 89 film. The producer also mentions Central City in talking to Dr. Quinzel, the city of the Flash. As the cops confront Firefly, we learn that this version isn't actually Garfield Lynns from the comics, but is named Robert Lowry, a clue to his true identity, since Robert Lowry played Batman in the 1949 serial Batman and Robin. We then go into the Burtonverse version of Arkham Asylum, where both Dr. Quinzel and Dr. Jonathan Crane work. Crane, of course, seems to be based off of Jeff Goldblum, and mentions that he learned under Dr. Hugo Strange. It's implied that Strange at least used to work for Arkham Asylum, an idea that began in the 2004 animated series The Batman. The idea of Strange being Crane's mentor is also similar to Batman the Audio Adventures, and seems appropriate since Hugo Strange actually used a form of fear toxin before Scarecrow even existed in the comics. The final panel reveals that Firefly, or Robert Lowry, is in reality Bruce Wayne. I did predict in a previous video that Bruce would be going undercover, and it seems that could be what's happening. Big thanks to our research assistant Dan for gathering the visuals for this. Check out our episode covering the Batman 89 comic adaptation versus the movie, and join our $5 Patreon tier where we cover topics and deeper dives that don't make it into the main show episodes, like covering all the Detective Comics published before Batman's first appearance. So join us at patreon.com/superherostuffpod. We are $100 short of our goal of $300 a month. Join the Patreon and help out, and if we reach $300 a month, we will celebrate by covering Superman Lives on the main show, and dive deeper into those tight red Speedos. And if we reach $500 a month, Andrew's donning the Nick Cage Superman suit. Where are we getting it? We don't know yet. You can check out the audio adaptation I wrote of the first Batman 89 arc, Batman 89 Shadows, for Newverse Creative. where I added my own Easter eggs into the narration and dialogue. You can also check out my short story, Shortcut to Happily Ever After, at Metaphorosis Magazine, as well as the preview for my upcoming comic Alter Ego, coming in 2024.
And please check out my other podcast, which is called Gaming Gaiden. Gaiden is spelled Gaiden. We discuss topics such as Japanese to English localization of video games, and we interview translators and localizers, and also people that were in 90s video game magazines such as Electronic Gaming Monthly. Also, please check out the movie that I'm working on called Metal Force. Please go to www.metalforce.ninja to find out more about this film. It's basically R-rated Power Rangers meets Stranger Things. That's the quick pitch.
Thanks for watching, and as usual, tell all your friends about us.